Hi, welcome to Game Creation. So in this video what we're going to be looking at is the event editor. We're not actually going to be progressing our project very much, very basic progression, but it's more about talking about how we organise our code. And it's really important that we do a video on this first, just to kind of get you in the spirit of how to better organise the event editor. Because in my first project, when I looked back, it was a kind of deal or no deal clone where you pick boxes. I was really proud of it. There was, I can't remember, like 600 different events, and there was no organisation at all, and it took me forever to find the bits. And ClickTeam helps you, like you can click on an object and you can see which events it relates to, and there's kind of features that helped, but I'm going to show you a much better way. And think about it from the start. The problem is when you need it, you're so far along in your project that it's very difficult to implement. Just do it at the start. Let's switch over to the screen. Okay, so in our last video we created a player and a backdrop, so that's great, and that's what we wanted. We also learned about how to do the movement with the player, but we didn't like the movement, so I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to... wrong one, and I'm just going to click static. I want that to be static. Now, static does not mean that cannot move. It means it won't move unless we do something in the event editor. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the event editor and keeping things neat within the event editor and kind of how it's used. You might, if you've used ClickTeam for a while, want to skip this video and wait for our next video where we go into how we actually do the movement. So I'm going to click the event editor. Now, the event editor is the engine behind our game. Like the frame editor is more about presentation, about what's on screen, about it looking nice. And in a lot of programming frameworks, not just within ClickTeam, you want to separate the presentation from the actual code itself, the thing that's driving it. And that's why ClickTeam have been really sensible separating the two into two different areas. So what we have here on the left hand side, we have what it's looking out for, and whatever I put in here, the program, when the game is running, the program will constantly be looking for when this happens. It's interested in when this happens. As soon as this thing happens, this then happens as a result. So cause, effect. Okay, so we're going to start off with a simple one. So I'm going to right click on that or left click, it doesn't matter. And the most common one to start off with is starter frame. It means right at the start, I want this to happen. And I don't know, let's destroy the player. Okay, so if I click run, application, starter frame, it's destroyed. Now I might go, actually I want the person playing the game to be able to see the player for a bit and then it get destroyed. So I right click here and replace. And so is timer equal to a certain value? Let's say 2 seconds, click OK, and let's run, and 2 seconds, 1, 2, and the player's gone. Okay, and you can have a look at the timer here. So this is the internal timer. This is what controls when things happen. And you know, this theoretically is exactly the same as real seconds, but lots of stuff can drive this being different to real seconds, especially when you've got a lot going on and the game slows down a little bit. The timer isn't necessarily to be 100% relied on for real time, but actually with modern computers, it's unlikely you'll hit that limit, and ClickTeam has a lot of stuff in it to stop you from hitting that limit. So I could close that down. Now this isn't at all interesting. This doesn't do anything. This isn't anything I want. So I click on the left here and just click delete, or you can right click and delete it from here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want an area of this code dedicated to player movement for our next video. And the worst thing to do is just start off doing it up here. The reason for that is that the code becomes absolutely impossible, and it's actually shocking how quickly it becomes very difficult to figure out where bits of code are. So what I want to do is, instead of doing that, I want to insert a group of events. And the title of the group is going to be player, if I can spell, player movement. I don't need password protection, but the reason for this is if I want to share this file, the MFA file, with, I think it's called that, with someone else, but I don't want them to see my code because I'm a little bit protective, and I found a really intuitive way of doing something, a really great way of coding something, but I don't want people to nick it, then I can put in a password protection here. Have I ever done that? No. Like, code is all about sharing ideas. I wouldn't be where I am if other people didn't, suggest ideas. And the forum, the ClickTeam forum, it's amazing. You need to check that out. It's so active. And there's so many really good people there, and it's a really positive environment. I would say there's occasionally people are a little bit short with people for asking questions, but I can't even remember the last time I read a post that someone asked something that was very basic, and that people weren't opening their arms and telling them how to do stuff and helping them along the way. It's really good. Anyway, a little bit of a side note. So I want to say active when frame starts, and we'll talk about that more later on. But yep. And there we go. So what it does is it stops us from having loads of clutter. So if I give an example of that, so let's copy that. So Control and C, Control and V, loads of times. Okay, so this is all our code here. And I could probably, if I click on the top one, and then I think it's Shift, is it? Yeah, it's Shift. Hold down Shift and click on that one. I can copy the whole lot and paste it. And oh my goodness, loads of code. Now, say if I've got a similar one down here. So I just clicked and dragged to copy it. I've got a similar one down here, but I can't find it because of all this code in the way. What you can do is you can actually collapse this. So if you double click on it, it collapses it. I think there's a way of right clicking. Maybe not. I don't think you can. Can you right click here? Again, in the comments if you know a way of right clicking. I don't think there is actually, but if you double click, it just hides it all. So when I'm not doing player movement, I don't have to worry about it. It's not in the way. It takes up one row and that's it, and I don't need to worry about it. There's other ways of actually optimizing it further, but I'm going through some of the basics. But when I do want to do player movement, say if I wanted to edit a bit of it, I'd double click on it, and I'd go in here and start working. And you can actually have groups within groups. So insert another group. So it could be right movement. And you see here, I can be coding the right movement. So when you click on right, what happens there, separately within it. I'm going to delete that for now because we'll get more granular in this. But you can nest them in as many, I think as many as you want, although normally with computers there's a limitation. I'm just going to hold down Shift and click on the top and bottom one, click delete because I don't actually want that, and click delete on that. And this is ready to go for us on the next video. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you liked it, please click like. Also, if you've got anything you want to add or any comment you want to make or future project proposals, or you find that different ways easier for you, please let us know down in the comments. I really want to have an opportunity to go through the comments in future videos. That would be really, really good. If you like what you see and you want to subscribe, please click the subscribe. There's something about a bell icon as well. Make sure you have the notifications. Also, we release videos on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday at 7 in the evening UK time, and you can, if you're in a different country, you can find out hopefully what that is in your local time. And yeah, it has been really, really fun, and I hope you join us for the journey. Thank you very much.